Being an operator, is really how we started, and that's the core business, I think, of a lot of nursing homes is to own and operate, or just to operate. So we happen to own and operate. I think one of the exciting things that we've come across is that we've gone away from the traditional leasing out of an entity as a quote unquote a problem asset per se, to looking at that as an opportunity and kind of turning the tables and getting into creating third-party leases where we own the real estate and then we lease out the operation to a third-party operator, and taking that and kind of put a little twist on it. And that twist is that we've taken and had the ability to take smaller operators, give them an opportunity in states where we don't necessarily have the infrastructure, or we don't live there, or we don't have a team that lives there, giving them an opportunity to get into the industry. And we're looking at that asset from an operator's perspective. So it's not like we're some real estate developer or big REIT that is just looking at a real estate portfolio. We know how to operate buildings, and we're not gonna buy anything, give it to a third-party operator that we don't think that we can make money running. We want them to be successful. And the other kind of twist that we put on it is, all our leases have a preset option to buy. So, within a short amount of time, we give those operators that are going to be successful at operating the building the chance to have skin in the game. And I think that that's, once they get skin in the game, they really, they grow, and it really makes those smaller operators that can be successful. Not only does it give them a chance, but it gives them a chance to get that skin in the game, which is ultimately what they want. I think that there's a lot of talent out there, and there's a lot of talent that doesn't have the resources, to go ahead and just buy and, and own and operate a nursing home. That doesn't mean that the talent isn't there. So, there are people that want the opportunity. They just want that chance. Everybody wants a chance. Give me a chance. I've interviewed a lot of people, and they're always like, just give me a shot, let me show you what I can do. And I think we've given that opportunity. And, by learning by the school of hard knocks, where you've leased out troubled assets in the past, taking that and saying, why don't we turn a negative into a positive? ACA obviously, has, there are plenty of, these, everybody wants to make a buck, but having people like PharMerica, I think it's a great advantage to come to the Symposium. I get invited to a lot of conferences many, many times a year, and I'll say this is the only one that I have actually repeatedly attended each year, this being the 5th. And every other time, I don't really see any value. I think PharMerica does an incredible job of bringing in guys, like Robert Kramer from NIC, Mark Parkinson, incredible panelists, to kind of give, the C-level people that kind of executive overview that we really need, about where the trends are. I can pick up, all the long-term care information that's on the internet, in the paper. Right. I could try to formulate my own hypothesis and my own ideas as to what I think that means, but being in a room full of other operators and having the expertise of guys like Mark Parkinson and the people from ACA and all the other talent that they bring in to speak about what's going on in the industry really gives me a snapshot of what's going on, and puts ideas in my head and gets me thinking and get those wheels turning. And I think innovation is really, it's going to separate those that are going to be successful from those that are simply going to fall by the wayside.
Who's not?
That's a really great question. And the answer that I have to that is, first coming on board as VP of purchasing, PharMerica happened to be the operator in a building that we took over, and looking at the analysis and saying, there's some big publicly traded company, they don't care about my literally one nursing home that at the time had PharMerica operating, the pharmacy services there. And I honestly, I was ready to kick them to the curb. I was like, they don't care about us, I'd rather deal with the local guy, who's gonna give me that service, who's gonna give me that attention. And believe me, we love to do business locally wherever we can. All things being equal, do I love to give business locally and, give back to the communities that we live in. I mean, what they've talked about at this conference is, talking about your own nursing homes as a community, and we've always had that attitude, caring about our community is something that we really pay a lot of attention to. But PharMerica in the past 5.5 years, I want to say, or 6 years maybe, they developed a team strategically aimed at the small onesie-twosie to, mid-size operators and giving them the attention. We need things differently than a big hospital. We need questions and things dealt with in a much different manner than a hospital. We're not a hospital, and as much as we tend to provide just the same, methodology of services, I think that they've done an incredible job of developing a team that's specific to the long-term care industry, focusing on that, focusing on having a symposium like this that brings across really a broad spectrum of C-level people, from all avenues of the long-term care industry, and educating us, and having that dedicated team that's really, they know what's going on in your industry, they know what's going on in your market, and even down to the account managers that work in the different local markets where we operate, they know what's going on in your area, and that's invaluable.